Well, good evening, and welcome to the Leadership Edge podcast. I'm your host, Dr. P. Ronald Wilder. Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership Podcast. The Leadership Edge, designed to give you that edge you need in your leadership. And I trust that it's our desire and our prayer that that's exactly what we've been doing, that we've been able to help you become a better leader in whatever area you're in, if it's church, if it's business, if it's educational, whatever arena you're in. The principles that we lay out here can help you in any of those genres, any of those areas. So thank you for tuning in. Now, if you're enjoying these podcasts, do me a couple of favors. Number one, type in the comments box where you're watching us from. Okay, let Brad and those at the leadership of this particular company, BGT Studios, know that where you're watching from. And also let them know if you're enjoying. If you're enjoying the Leadership Edge is blessing you, let Brad know. Just hit in the comment, hey, Brad, I'm loving this. I'm liking this. The Leadership Edge is really, really helping me, and thank you for allowing it to be on. So go ahead and do that. You're watching us on BGT Studios Facebook page. Go ahead, like and share. Amen. And hit that share button right now, and go ahead and hit the like button or follow, whichever one I ask you to do. And if you're watching on the BGTV Studios YouTube channel, we want you to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. We want our subscriber list to go way up. I believe that God's going to bless BGT Studios, and so you got an opportunity to be right here, ground floor. So go ahead, like on Facebook, follow on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. That's BGTV Studios. Okay, so go ahead and do that for me, and we'll appreciate that. Again, support the other ministries that are here, not the ministry, just ministry, but podcasts. So by watching the lineup of what they have is Sundays at 7 p.m. is Let's Talk About It with Ryan Allen. Love Fashionably with Abby Smith. I've had a chance to watch Abby. I actually watched some of Ryan also. I've the Leadership Edge, that's tonight on Tuesday nights, that's yours truly. And then on Thursdays, Spirit-Led Life by Pastor Bo Johnson. You'll really be blessed by that. Tune in. And on Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. So Thursday has two of them running. Leslie Drake and Brad, the CEO here, Graydon, they do Birmingham Avenue. So go ahead. Hey, tell your friends about them. You're not going to get no better information on the various areas of expertise than what you're getting here, okay? And then finally, before I get into my talk tonight, I want to appeal to you to be a supporter of BGT Studios. You know, the scripture says that those who teach you the word and teach you share all good things. You're getting good content here. So support BGT Studios. 100% of everything you give goes to BGT Studios and the support of it and the running of it. You see it on the screen now, the ways to give online. The website is bgtstudios.church.center.com/giving. Take you straight to the giving page. You can give there. It's very secure. You ain't got to worry about your information being compromised. It's very solid. And then you can text an amount, whatever amount you want to give, to 84321. Again, I want to appeal to everyone watching and those of you who are supporters of the Leadership Edge to be a blessing to BGT Studios. The podcasters, we don't share in that. We don't get in a dime of that. That's not what this is about. But we want to support and keep this thing rolling. And we are believing that by the grace of God, that 24 is going to be a tremendous year of growth. Other podcasts are lining up to come on, and there'll be a day when it's running 24/7. But as for right now, it's what it is. All right. Let's talk leadership. I'm glad these Tuesdays don't come quick enough, okay? They just don't, because, man, last Tuesday was hot. We talked about the characteristics of an emerging leader, and thank you for all your comments. Thank you for your people that reached out and talked about how good it was and how it helped them. Well, we're going to go further tonight, and I hope it helps you just as much. Again, always type in the comments how much these lessons bless you. Now, we were talking about the characteristics of an emerging leader, okay? We gave 3 last week, three characteristics to look for, okay? Leadership in the past, the capacity to catch vision, a constructive spirit of discontent. Now, if this is your first time tuning in and you didn't catch us last week, you can go on again to BGT Studios Facebook page or YouTube channel, and you can backtrack till Tuesday's date, last Tuesday's date, and pull it up. You'll see me right there, okay? And you want to hear that, so go back and do it. It's right there. That's the good thing about that. You can go back and look at some of the old content and get caught up, okay? Now, let's pick up. We're talking about emerging leaders. I'm talking to pastors. I'm talking to church leaders. I'm talking to ministers. I'm talking to elders. I am talking to business owners. I'm talking to CEOs. I'm talking to people that run companies and all of these things about the people you got to choose to help you do what you do, the leaders you pick. If everything rises and falls on leadership, as John Maxwell says, and I agree and I believe that, then it's very important that we hit it in the choosing of leaders. That's one area we can't miss it at. We don't need to miss. There might be some things we can miss at. We don't need to miss in the choosing and the choice of the people we pick for leadership in our companies and our churches, whatever we do. So, other than the three I gave you, leadership in the past, capacity to catch vision, a constructive spirit of discontent. The fourth characteristic you want to look for is a willingness to take responsibility. A willingness to take responsibility. Leaders take responsibility. They do. That's what leaders do. They don't play the victim role. They don't play like everybody's against me. They take responsibility for their actions. They take responsibility for what they're responsible for and for what they're given. One night, the vice president of a company was leaving. He went in the warehouse and on the floor and saw many of the employees. He's getting ready to leave. And he's getting ready to leave. One of the porters who work in the company walked by and said to him, "Mr. Smith, I sure wish I had your pay, but not your worry." Think about that. "Mr. Smith, I sure wish I had your pay, but not your worry." In other words, he equated responsibility and worry. He wanted to be able to drop his responsibility when he walked out the door and not carry it home. That's understandable, but it's not a trait of an emerging leader. Emerging leaders understand that if I'm part of the process, I'm part of the team, I'm part of the vision, I take it home. I have responsibility just like the leader does. Matter of fact, emerging leaders have a sense of bearing the burden, okay? They bear it. If you're a leader in the church, you're an elder in the church, it is not just on your pastor. If you got it all on him, you've missed the boat. Because if you look in the scripture, what did God tell Moses? In Numbers 11, when Moses said, "Lord, the burden is too great for me." And the Lord told Moses, "Choose out 70 men whom you know to be elders, who you know to be leaders. You know their potential. You've seen them. You work with them. You know them. So pick out 70, and you gather them and bring them to the place I tell you. And I'm going to come down, and I'm going to take the spirit that's on you, Moses, and I'm going to put it on them." But it don't stop there. It says, I'm going to put it on them that, in other words, I'm going to put the spirit on them that they may bear the burden with you. Leadership is about bearing the burden. If you can go home at the end of the day as a leader and you don't carry the burden of the company, of the church with you, you're not a leader. I am sorry. That's a game changer for me. If someone says, "Pastor, when I leave the church, when I go home, I'm through with it. I ain't got nothing to do with none of this stuff," then they're not a leader. Because leaders understand, I'm in it, I'm with you. I carry the burden just like you. So the real question is, what happens to you when you go home? Do you think about the budget? I'm talking church now. Do you think, did we hit the budget today, Pastor? And if we didn't hit it, what are we going to do? Or do you say, Pastor, you don't even care about the burden, and whatever didn't hit, Pastor, that's on you. You got to take care of it. Not a potential leader. Leaders are willing, potential leaders are willing to take the responsibility. They really need to get in there and be with it. The day that you begin to understand and take complete responsibility is the day you begin your journey as a great leader. That's the day. Leaders take responsibility. They bear the burden. They don't walk away and let you figure it out. They don't say, I'm going home, I got to get my rest, and that ain't what I'm called to. Leaders take responsibility. You can't be like the porter. I want the Pastor, I like the accolades. I like the honor of being a leader. I like people looking up to me. I like being up front. I like having the microphone. But I don't want to take this responsibility home. I don't want to bear no burden. That's on you. You don't fit the mold. You don't fit the bill. Leaders take responsibility. Okay? If you're a leader and you start doing this before you get the title. You start doing this before you get the position. Okay? You can't walk out and not be concerned with the burden that the pastor carries. You carry it with him. The next characteristic of an emerging leader is mental toughness. You gotta be tough, people. Gotta be tough. You gotta be able to stand some pressure. You gotta be able to stand some heat. Because leadership is all about heat. As a matter of fact, I talk about the products on my website, www.pronaldwilder.com. One of the leadership teachings in my product, if you go to pronaldwilder.com and go to shop, there is a there's a leadership teaching called In the Pressure Cooker. And in the pressure cooker, I talk about leadership when the heat is on. Okay? Got to be tough. Maybe we'll talk about that at some point in one of these podcasts. Okay? But we're going to talk about when the heat's on. So get that leadership teaching at the website. Leadership when the heat is on. In the pressure cooker. So you got to be tough. Why? Because as a leader, you're going to face criticism. That it comes with the territory. No one can lead without facing criticism and discouragement. Hey, two things gonna come at you. People gonna criticize you, and you're gonna be tempted to be discouraged. You make decisions. Leadership is about making decisions. I mentioned this in a previous podcast, and we're gonna do one later all about decision making. But you make decisions. You have to make the best decision you can for the organization, knowing that you're going to be criticized, it's going to be second-guessed, and it's going to be questioned. And so if you're a potential leader, you are in with the leader. You are not the one running around saying, well, I didn't agree with the pastor, no way. I didn't agree with the head, with the president, no way. I didn't agree with the CEO, no way. I was the lone voice of discontent. No. If y'all make the decision in the boardroom, in the back room, and everybody agree to it, then publicly you stand with it. And you got to have the toughness to stand. Yes, I stand with it. When everybody, even your family folk may be coming at you. But you got to stand there. Leaders have to be mental toughness. I don't mean mean. We don't want mean people because we want you to be nice, approachable, lovable. I'm not talking about mean, but I'm talking about tough-minded, who can pay the price, who can stand the heat, who can stand the pressure, who don't bow down when things get hot and heated. These are characteristics of they don't run and hide. They stand up and take the heat. And when the decision that was made by the leadership or the pastor comes back and it's the wrong decision sometimes and it backfires, you still standing there and you take the arrows and the bullets with them. You got to be mentally tough. And sometimes you can't defend yourself. God will ultimately vindicate you, but until he does, you got to stand there and take it. And sometimes he won't let you defend yourself. Joseph was not guilty, but he spent years in jail, and God didn't vindicate him instantly. You got to be mental tough to stand there when vindication ain't came yet. See, here's what leadership does. Leadership separates one from their peers. It separates. Why? Because the separation comes from carrying responsibilities only you can carry. See, you got to carry stuff that only you can carry. Your friends can't carry. And so what happens is you get separated. You'll find your circle begin to change. Your friends will begin to change. Because you're carrying something they can't carry and they don't understand it. That's why you got to have mental toughness. Leaders are emotionally strong. See, that's what you want to look for. In that mental toughness, you have to look for emotional strength. Okay? You're not an emotional wreck. You're not an emotional wreck. Up today, down tomorrow, all over the place. Never know what your emotions going to be or what the situation going to trigger. You got to be emotionally strong. You got to be able to take the onslaughts. You got to be resilient against the storms of life. Okay? That's how you know leaders. How do they handle the storms of life? Because the storms of life come. They come to all of us. Nobody is exempt from the storms of life. Nobody. And really, those in leadership sometimes get it the worst because you're the bigger target. You got a bigger target on you because of what you do. So the enemy comes at you at a higher level, but you got to be resilient. You got to still lead when the storms are coming because people still looking to you for leadership. They still looking to you for direction. So you got to be resilient. The storms come, and sometimes they know they come. They know they're there, but you got to be resilient because you got to lead in the midst of it. You leaders don't have the luxury of temporary emotional drama or temporary blindness. In the middle of war, you can't decide, well, I need to take a break. I need some me time. No, you got to lead through the storm. You got to lead through the battle. It's leadership. I know it's tough, but that's what it is. I wish I can give it to you a little easier, a little softer, but that's what leadership is. And here's the bummer. The people that's following you, they don't really care about the storms you're going through because they deal on their own and they need you to help them through theirs. Forget yours. You got to help them through theirs while you battle your own private storms. That's leadership, y'all. That's the burden of leadership. Maybe that's a podcast right there, the burden of leadership. That is the burden. You got to have tremendous coping skills as a leader. You got to be able to cope with a lot of stuff. You got to be able to cope with different types of people, different types of attitude, different types of dispositions, all kinds of stuff. You got to have coping skills. You can't cope, you won't survive. These are things we look for in emerging leaders. How do they cope? How do they cope when they put in a different environment, a different situation? When they're taking out their comfort zone, how do they cope? You got to be able to have, you got to be able to cope with change. Because in leadership, things are always changing. Things are fluid. They're moving, they're changing. And you got to adapt and change as things change. You can't get stuck in one way and stay there. You will wither away. You'll plateau in your leadership development if you refuse to change. So you got to cope with change. These are some of the coping skills that leaders must have and potential leaders must have. You got to be able to cope with change. You got to cope with discouragement. You got to fight it off. Sometimes when you've given all to it, you see very little results. Or sometimes people seem very unappreciative. Discouragement comes, but you got to cope with it. You got to lead through it. You got to cope with fatigue when you're tired. You got to get a second wind sometime. I'm tired. I'm weary from the journey. But you got to be able to work through it. That's leadership. You got to cope with failure. Sometimes things just don't work out. Sometimes our intentions are good, but the thing just didn't work out. I've had many leadership failures. I've had many decisions I made that blew up in my face. I've had many things that I had to come back and say, hey, I didn't handle that right. It's my bad. My intentions were good, but it didn't come out right. You got to be able to handle failure. You got to get back up. You can't stay and wallow in the dirt. What's the natural reaction of anybody when they fall to get up? Think about a baby. When a baby learns to walk, they fall. What do? They get back up. They don't lay down on the floor. They get up. If you were to walk on the floor and fall, what do you got to do? You get up. Something has to be psychologically, physically wrong with you not to get up. So as a leader, you got to get up. Get up and keep on leading. Get up and lead again. Yep, it blew up on you, but get up and keep on leading. That's what leaders do. Get up. Quarterback throwing an interception. Hey, he got to come back on the next series and lead the team down to a touchdown. That's what you do. You can't give up. This is all for mental toughness. This is all for mental toughness, people. You can't give it up. You got to keep on going. You got to be able to cope with pressure, because there's pressure in what we do. There's high pressure. Pressure's put on you. The job itself is pressure. When you look for potential leaders, you watch how they handle pressure, because now you're bringing them into pressure. This is all in the area of mental toughness. Got to be able to handle it. Got to be able to stay in the pressure cooker. Got to stay in that pressure cooker and bring it all out. Number 6, next thing. When you're looking for potential leaders, emerging leaders, give me a couple of minutes now, I'll be through with this. They strive for excellence. Potential leaders, emerging leaders strive for excellence. A leader must strive for excellence in speech, in attitude, in dress, and how they treat others. You want to be excellent. Excellence means to excel. Anybody can be average. Excellence just means going a little bit further. Because real leaders demand excellence of themselves and excellence of the people around them. What is excellence, Dr. Wilder? Excellence is doing what? Going beyond the call of duty. That's all it is. It means doing more than what I have. Excellence comes from striving and maintaining the highest standards. Every job assignment I've ever been given by my leaders, I've always desired to give it back to them better than what they gave it to me, because I desired excellence. Leaders can't have that'll do attitude. That'll do. I'd rather you have an attitude of shooting for the stars and missing than to aim for the ground and hit it. I'd rather you aim high and miss it than aim low and hit it. I'll say it again. I'd rather see you aim high and miss it than to aim low and hit it. Leaders strive for excellence. So when you look for potential leaders, you got to make sure that they have a spirit of excellence. Because there's an enemy called average. Everybody wants to be average, but that's an enemy. Good is the enemy of greatness. Average is the enemy of excellence. Let's go beyond. Excellence means caring. It means making a special effort to do more. I watch people when I give them assignments. I watch what level of excellence they put into it. That's how I judge and prepare potential leaders. That's what I look for. Do they have an excellent spirit? Do they have an excellent mindset? I look at how they handle what is theirs. I look at how their car is. You know, I want to get them, when my leaders called me, the car was like, they was embarrassed because it looked like a junk pile. I said, you never know when I'm going to need your car. Or you at church and I need you to take someone home. You can't be a leader and your stuff look like this. I watch how they handle what they do. Tells you a whole lot. See, it's all about observing. We're looking for potential leaders. I know I'm giving you a lot of stuff. So the three things I've given you tonight, and we have to do a third one on this one, is they have a willingness to take responsibility. They have mental toughness. And they strive for excellence. Look at BGT Studios. This is excellence. What you're seeing is excellence. This is not Bush League stuff. This is a first-class operation. Excellence. Look for those who have a spirit of excellence. Listen, my time is up. I thank you for yours. We're going to pick up here on next week. Now listen, just talk to you about BGTV Studios. Once again, subscribe on YouTube, BGT Studios. Like and follow on Facebook. Again, don't forget the ways to give. I plead you again, ask you support it. Online, bgtvstudios.church.center.com/giving, or text any amount to 84321. They'll appreciate it. I thank you in advance for doing that. Now listen, don't forget to visit my website, www.pronaldwilder.com. There you'll find, you can get a copy of my book, The ABCs of Leadership, but also go to my shop page and you'll find all the products that we have there. Some great leadership teaching. Maybe next time I'll tell you some of them. I don't have time right now, but there's some great leadership teachings there. The best buy there is the bundle. It's a jump drive with over 30 of my leadership teachings on there. It is the bomb. It is it is equivalent to a college class of leadership material, guarantee you. Stuff I've learned in the 20, 30 years I've been learning leadership. So go on there, get that. Big discount if you buy that bundle as opposed to buying everything separately. www.pronaldwilder.com. Again, go to the contact page, communicate with me. If you got any, email me. You can ask questions or whatever. Listen, I'll see you on next Tuesday. We gotta pick up and continue. If I can do it in 2, it's gonna take me 3. Characteristics of an emerging leader. Hey, listen, y'all have a great rest of the week. I can't wait. 168 hours. That's how long a week is. I'll see you in 168. God bless you. Have a good one. This is P. Ronald Wilder reminding you that leadership matters and leaders lead.